Okay, we're good.
Are we good?
Yes.
You sure about that?
No.
Well, here we are.
Once again.
Once again, we're reviewing Bloodshot today. This might be one of the last movie reviews we ever do if the coronavirus takes over.
Yeah, at least for stuff in theaters.
Yeah, at least for stuff in theaters. That being said, this being one of the last movies we're going to see in theaters for a bit, interesting choice. We did. I could have watched 1917 or Bloodshot that day, and I chose Bloodshot.
You're a smart man.
Yeah, very smart. So yeah, we saw Bloodshot. This movie stars Vin Diesel, as you can see.
There he is.
There he is. He's doing good. He plays like a Marine Army person, something like that. It's all stuff you've seen before, right? He's like
pretty vanilla.
He's the best of the best, right? He gets taken out for being too cocky. He gets kidnapped by a bad guy. Him and his girlfriend are both executed pretty mercilessly. When he wakes up, he's in like this new weird facility. He can suddenly like break concrete with his hands. He can heal himself with nanites.
Mm-hmm.
His blood has been replaced with nanites. So it makes scenes like this completely not violent because it's just nanites being blown off his face. It's not blood.
Right. It's robots.
It's fine, guys.
Yeah.
That's PG-13. But of course, things are not as they seem. And we kind of learn along the way what's going on here. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the whole movie, including the big reveal. So I guess we won't spoil it just in case. But, you know, I don't know how much there is to spoil.
Yeah, I don't know either. See, I went into it just knowing it was a Vin Diesel movie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even watch the trailer, I feel. Or if I did, I'd already forgotten about it.
Well,
so
it's interesting, right? Because there's Marvel making superhero movies. There's DC making superhero movies. And then there's Vin Diesel, right? He is technically in the Marvel universe. He plays Groot.
He is.
But I feel like Vin Diesel probably wanted to be a real superhero and not just say the same line over and over, right? He probably actually wants to be in one of those Marvel or DC movies.
And that's what this is.
This is the best he could do, yeah. So Groot was the best he could do in the Marvel universe. Now this is the best he could do as a actual lead to a superhero film. And you get pretty much exactly what you're paying for, right? It is a generic, you've seen it a million times before superhero movie.
Yes.
The twists you see coming a mile away, not just because of the trailer, but because of just the setup. You know something's not right here. What's going on? You understand that there's going to be some sort of twist with this organization. You understand that at least, right?
Yeah.
There are a couple tweaks here and there that I wasn't seeing coming, but for the most part, right? Like the big motions in this movie are things that you expect.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to piggyback off that because I feel for the most part the overall story was like it was
standard.
It's been done before,
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a couple tweaks that I didn't see coming.
Yeah, or I thought they were gonna go a different way, but they did something different. It's like, okay, all right, I like that. Yeah, it's a small thing. It doesn't save the whole movie, and the broader strokes are obvious things. But, you know, there's a few tweaks here and there.
There's
that
a few
nice.
glimmers.
Even the action overall is pretty standard too.
Yeah,
but there are a few moments where it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Either this scene I think might be the best action scene in the movie, and not overall, but just specific moments in it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That was kind of creative. That was, you know, badass, whatever.
Yeah.
And the lighting and everything like that kind of did help make it at least a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moments like that helped this movie rise. I'm not going to say above being mediocre, but it helped it. It helped it be a not completely terrible time.
Right.
It never rises above that mediocrity, but it's a fine movie. I don't think it's ever like terrible, but it's also just never great.
Ooh,
never great.
No, something you'd point out after the movie, we're talking about the characters, and I said I like this one guy, and then you're like, say one of his lines. And I couldn't think of any.
What did you like about it? yeah, exactly.
I mean, I liked his gadgets. It wasn't even like
yes.
his lines and like there's some odd characters in this movie.
They do pretty much all of the characters pretty dirty, I would say. None of
Yeah.
them are given the depth that they need, and even characters that you expect them to be given more depth later on, that never comes around. And
No.
they are just what you think they are. They are just two-dimensional, boring bad guys, even good guys. There's not a lot here, and they try to amp it up with some of the characters being a little bit more. Like there's a tech guy who I don't remember any names from this movie, but there's a black guy who's like a techie, and he's got a lot of character. You can tell the actor is really trying to make this character kind of funny and the more light point of the movie, but I still didn't really like him. And I don't know how much of it is the actor or the lines, but he still just came across as kind of bordering on annoying at times.
Yeah, like he had drank a lot of caffeine.
Yes,
before
a lot.
Each of the shoots.
Yeah,
probably a few lines.
Did a ton of caffeine and cocaine. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, characters never rise above. Action is pretty mediocre for the most part. Really bad at certain points. The finale of this movie looks rough.
Ooh,
the CG is bad.
Yeah, there's some CG moments that it looked like the people are made of rubber. It almost looks like
there's they have a rubbery look to them.
Yeah, like when they're like turning to go hit somebody, like it
looks like a cartoon.
Yeah,
or it looks like a video game cutscene. You know, it's like if this was a video game cutscene, I'd be impressed, but in a movie, it stands out as awkward.
Right. Because like they'll be switching between like the real actors and then they'll have something that's completely unrealistic happening. So they switch to CG and it took me out.
Yeah. Or there were moments where you could have done some sort of real thing, but they went with the CG route because that's easier, obviously. Yeah. And this movie probably didn't have a big budget. So they're constrained by what they're doing. But with that sort of thing, I always say like just work within your means. If you don't think you can pull it off and look great, or if you only have a few big action scenes that you really want to look good, highlight those, right? And then for the other moments, either rewrite them so they don't need to be as big and flashy, or try to integrate some more practical stuff into it.
Right, which is, I feel, what they did with this scene.
Yeah, for the most part, this scene doesn't rely on a lot of CG. It's mostly just Vin Diesel punching people, and then they're flying back into cars or whatever. And for the most part, the lighting is probably helping them out quite a bit. But for the most part, it looks good in this scene. I didn't really have a big problem with how this scene in particular looked.
I agree. Yeah, the finale looked pretty spotty.
Finale looked spotty. And I have to say, like, when they're making these movies, I just have to wonder, like, are they... it feels like this is made by a studio. It doesn't feel like this is made by someone with a goal in mind, right? Like I'm not just making a superhero movie, right? I'm trying to tell a story about this character, and there's a lot of there's subtlety to it. I want him to really go through a journey, you know what I mean? Like, because that's a movie. But in this, it's like I'm just making a stupid movie. We're just gonna throw a bunch of crap in there. Who cares? Oh, we don't know how to do this scene. We'll just CG it. We'll do it in post.
Gosh,
it has that feeling to it.
Yeah, it doesn't really have heart.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have heart to it. Yeah. And that's a problem, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, it was like at the beginning of the movie, they try and establish like certain moods for how you're supposed to feel for certain characters. And
they introduced, well, I already said, I don't think it's a spoiler because they show it in the trailer and it's at the very beginning, but they kill his wife at the beginning of the movie. Right. And they don't even try to give her a character. Like, it is just bam, 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 she's dead. Yeah, we're going to show them like together for a little bit. We're going to give her one line, maybe two, and then we're going to kill her.
Yeah, I was chuckling at the beginning because I'm just like, all of this stuff is just adding up for her dying. Like, I didn't even know.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I didn't know going into the movie, but like they have all these scenes of like him and his wife smiling.
Oh, I love you so much, baby. Oh, come here.
And they're in bed together, and then he's bragging about,
we're going to go on vacation.
Yeah.
It's going to be one more tour, and then we're going to go out.
Yeah. Listen, I'm out for good.
It's not a bad Vin Diesel, is it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we can talk more in spoilers, I guess. But yeah, broad strokes, that's how I feel about it. It's a middle of the road. I think I give it a 5 out of 10. Easy.
Yeah, I was going to go light 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was teetering on 4, but I feel like it's
for me. I don't even get angry at it enough for it to be a 4.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm not angry at it enough to give it a 4.
It's middle of the road. It's it, it's a boring, forgettable movie, right? Like it is middle of the road. It's not even bad
Yeah.
enough to make you remember it. So it's like in some cases
Yeah.
that's worse. um, yeah. So we're both fives on it. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't recommend it. If you happen to see it on Netflix or something like that, maybe, and you're just bored and curious what it's going to be like, sure.
Yeah. That's what this feels like.
If
Like
you
a
have
Netflix movie.
if you have
Where you're
nothing
like,
else going for you and you're just like, hey, I'm kind of curious about Bloodshot. I don't have to pay any money for it because it's on Netflix. Go for it. It's
yeah.
fine.
Well, you can't watch it in theaters anymore. So.
You can't watch it in theaters anymore, so it's probably coming to Netflix soon anyway. But yeah, it's a stream at best. And even then, I don't really recommend it. It's just like
there are other things to watch.
All right, we're going into spoilers. Not that anyone cares. So one of the things that this movie does just awfully is its depiction of its characters, right? And I think that's represented the worst in the guy that's just an asshole. Don't know his name. He's the arms guy, right? He's the legs guy.
He's the legs guy.
He's the legs guy at this secret facility, right? So they're all augmented in different ways. This guy is augmented with his legs. Later in the movie, he gets extra arms too, which he's controlling somehow.
Yeah, he's wearing it as like a backpack.
Yeah,
and then it like drills into his spine.
Oh, did it do that?
Yeah,
I did like the Dr. Octopus thing.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it did the Doc Ock thing. That's all I was thinking during that scene.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, this is Doc Ock, but not as cool.
You see that in a ton of movies now. Yeah, where they just drill into the spine. And then that somehow makes them able to control it.
Yeah.
His character is an asshole for absolutely no reason. You keep expecting somewhere in the movie they're going to be like, okay, they're playing with Vin Diesel not remembering things, right? Every time he does a mission, they wipe his memory. So I'm like, okay, these two must have a past because he hates Vin Diesel so much. These two must have a past Vin Diesel just doesn't remember. So like maybe the legs guy is the one that really wanted the augments for the nanites in his blood, you know? And he's just kind of jealous at Vin Diesel this whole time.
Right. Or he was like an older model and then he got replaced by Diesel.
Something like that. Like there's got to be something like that that makes this make sense.
Right.
Nothing. There's nothing. He's just an asshole. He lets Eye Guy die for no reason.
Because he's trying to kill Diesel.
Eye Guy was totally misused in this movie too, by the way. Like he didn't really get a time to shine ever.
No. He had, I think, that one moment where he was on the bike and he had the helmet.
His bike was kind of cool.
Yeah. And like that was pretty neat. That's why I said I liked his gadgets. I don't really know what he said, but
would have been nice if they had a character to go along with the gadgets. Yeah.
Especially since these characters have like augments, you would think you could have some really interesting action scenes with them.
Super interesting.
Right?
Like, yeah, what can you do with that?
It was like, okay, let's have a foot chase. And it's like, well, what the heck? Like,
yeah.
You can do something other than that.
You can do something other than that. And in that foot chase, it's middle of the day, broad daylight. You're really seeing the crappy CG come through, especially with Leg Guy. He's like running on walls and stuff. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
It looks awful. They go out of their way to make Leg Guy such an asshole, though. He's always chewing gum. He like at one point takes his gum out, sticks it under the table.
Yeah.
In this like high-tech facility, everything's super clean. You know, another point, he just spits out his gum on the floor. Like, he's such a cartoony bad guy, and if this movie was maybe different in tone, maybe that could have been fun. But in the context, you kept waiting for that motivation, and it never came through. And the thing is, too, you can make these characters stand out by having them have interesting personalities, and that being the thing that leads them alone. When it's just asshole and that's it, one note the whole time, he's always like every single scene he's in, he's always angry. He's always an asshole. Every single scene.
Yeah, he's just like...
That's not fun. I know you didn't see this, but Bad Boys 3 actually did this really well, where they have these three side characters. There's even the same number. 3 side characters, 2 of them are a guy. Oh my gosh, it's the same thing. There's one Asian guy, one white guy, and then a girl. It's the same thing. But they're able to make all these characters, and none of them are main characters. They're all side characters. They're kind of just along for the ride. But they all stand out at least a little bit because they're given interesting personalities that stand out for each character, right? They each get a moment to shine throughout the movie too, which helps a lot. You don't really get that with this movie. They all fall flat, and when they do get their moments to shine, it's kind of lame. You said, yeah, like I remember middle action sequence with Eye Guy, he's on the motorcycle, he's got the helmet. Does he do anything cool?
He's just like,
He just
he's running
right?
down that way. Like
Yeah.
he's basically acting as a satellite.
Yeah, he doesn't actually get any action moments to stand out or do anything.
No, like why not have an action scene with that helmet or?
Well,
like,
so
I don't know, not that.
So we have Eye Guy, we have Leg Guy, and we have Lung Girl. She has the worst superpower by far, by the way.
Well, hers is just she cannot breathe. So this is
no, she breathes, but she's immune to toxins, which they use later in the movie, and then she can breathe underwater.
Right, and she can hold her breath for a while, right, or something. Or no, that's not it.
No, she can breathe underwater, right? Because
she can breathe underwater. Yeah, that's right.
I kept expecting that to come in, by the way, too, that she was breathing underwater, but she didn't really get a moment.
Just for the creeper scene.
It was just so that when she tries to capture the black guy and she uses the toxins, he gets knocked out and she doesn't. It's the only time our abilities ever really come into play.
Yeah, the water one would have been interesting to use. Like that's how you could, if someone's
make a super high tech facility that they need to get into or something. No more. We lost our connection after the war.
Yeah.
So one thing about this movie that I actually was thinking about, I don't usually feel this way, but I actually think this movie could have worked a lot better as a TV show, like an HBO show or a Netflix show even, where they really like actually give us time to feel for these characters. And like first episode, right, he's the military guy. They actually give us time to develop the relationship between Vin Diesel and his wife. We still know what's going to happen, right? We still know what's coming, but let's actually develop her as a character so that we actually feel something when she dies. Even though we know it's coming, you can still make us feel for that character. Mm-hmm. Instead, they just do the thing where it's, like we're running through the motions so that you understand they have a good relationship and that's supposed to be enough.
Yeah, here's a happy montage.
That's it. That's all they give us. They don't actually give us a character.
Yeah.
Let it. So yeah, first episode ends with him becoming Bloodshot, right? He wakes up in the facilities like, what's going on here? And then second episode, right, we're introduced to the team, right? We actually get to develop a relationship with these characters as a team. They're all on the good guy side, right? Don't make the guy that's an asshole just an asshole. Give him some redeeming qualities, right?
Yeah, make him good at his job.
Let's have 2 or maybe even 3 episodes where we're just with this crew. They're doing missions, right? Through these missions, Vin Diesel is like slowly beginning to sense that something's not right. And we're learning with him what exactly is going on instead of just what the movie does, which is all exposition. They just tell us exactly what's going on through exposition. It's so lame. I couldn't believe that's how they did the big reveal. It's like Vin Diesel gets knocked out and we're just going to tell you everything. We're just going to tell you everything that's going on. We're not going to show anything. We're not going to do anything subtle or cool. We're just going to tell you.
Yeah, they just kind of brush it off.
Big reveal for the story. Whatever. The audience knows now. Vin Diesel doesn't know. Whatever. Yeah. Put that in a TV show. Make it a slow build. Let's actually grow with these characters so that when that betrayal comes, that actually feels like a huge hit too.
Right.
You know? They just don't give time for any of this stuff. It's so quick and yet so boring at the same time for most of it.
Yeah.
There were multiple moments in this movie where I was kind of just glazed over. Because I was like, oh man, I don't care at all what you guys are talking about right now.
Man, yeah, I could actually see that TV show thing working out because I'm thinking of Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
And like
exactly
the pacing of that show, it's what was it? Is it 9 or 10 episodes?
It's 9 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, 9 episodes. But yeah, like the pacing of it's good. There are certain things that are established earlier on that come into play later on.
Yeah, some of which you pick up on and some of which you don't.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's nice.
No,
man, yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah. I
have a little mini series like was it they'd had the mini series of like Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or there's a few of those.
No, I agree. Do a mini series, make it a 1 season thing, maybe set it up for a 2nd season if it does well, you know, but just let it play out more. We just needed some more depth to these characters because I didn't feel anything when any of these characters were in danger or anything. Vin Diesel, I'm never worried about him throughout the whole movie.
No, even at the end when they were like talking about
that he's like
like
gonna
he's reaching a low
he's reaching his
percent.
point. Yeah,
It's like I feel they didn't establish that the gravity of that situation well enough
no,
beforehand, because he was just getting like beat in this scene. Like he's just taking all of it. He doesn't even care.
yeah, no, well, that's the thing. His fighting style was actually kind of boring because he's just kind of tanking everything. He's not being tactical or anything like that. He's just kind of getting shot at and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help make you feel like he's vulnerable at all. The final fight scene, yeah, you don't really feel like he's in any danger at
No.
all.
I mean, the nanites at the end, it was like, well, what did it do? Like it took one of the bullets and started like disassembling it, right?
Yeah, till just the explosive part was left. Yeah, and then he dropped that at the end to kill both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't even talk about the main bad guy. I mean, Guy Pearce, so boring.
Yeah, pretty generic around the mill. Like when he did the thing to that lung girl, right? And he's just like stopped her breathing.
In front of, by the way, this is like a private company, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't understand the logic behind this stuff. So the main bad guy is killing his other two partners because they also know how to make people into Bloodshot, right? They know how to do the nanite thing. So he's killing off them so that they can't profit off it too, or so that they
can't replicate
they can't replicate it. Yeah, so he can be the only one on the market with it. But like he's also like evil, right? It's not just that. Like he's also like he's threatening to kill the lung girl in front of all of these employees apparently he has, and like I guess they're all just like, oh well, I guess I'll just keep quiet about that and not take this to the police. Like,
yeah,
this is like, I don't know. It's like Austin Powers Dr. Evil logic, where this guy's like got this evil lair and everyone there is just like in on it, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. Bad movie. Don't run out and you can't run out and see it, so it doesn't matter. This review is pointless.
Yes.
All right. Well, good job, everybody. You want to
keep watching the movies? We'll be here.
I don't know what we'll be doing.
Yeah,
we'll come up with something, I guess.
Yeah, we'll release a channel update video.
Yeah, good stuff.
For all our eager subscribers.
Yeah,
love you, but not like that. All right, thank you.
Half of our subscribers are in this room right now. We have 4.
Oh yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about.
It's not bad.
Yeah, well done. All right, well, thank you for listening to the Talking with Your Ears. Good night.
Yeah, dude. I